Hey, what's up, guys? I know a lot of you just got some new 3D printers, and I know this is one of the hottest attractions for the 3D printing at the moment. So if you've been trying to find out, hey, how can I get this done? Check this video out, guys. It's 3DB. All right, guys, so before we get into the video, as always, this is just the process that I've gone through to actually get my results. The only thing that I didn't put in this video is one, the visor that I'll be using, and two, you just didn't see it spray painted. So these all vary from person to person, spray paints, visors, the whole nine. But again, I'm gonna show you how to slice this up in your Cura or whatever slicer you may be using so that way you can get to this Mandalorian helmet, guys. Let's get into it. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. If you follow me on Instagram, again, my Instagram is 3db.inc. You probably already seen that I finished the Mandalorian helmet. That one was for a friend of mine. I actually wasn't going to do this because so many printers actually do the Mandalorian helmet. But with that being said, I know a lot of new printers may have been struggling with getting this. When I first attempted it, it wasn't too hard. I did have to make a couple edits, but I'm just here to shorten you guys' learning curve. So you can find this Mandalorian helmet pretty much on all the platforms. Again, the first one I did was on Thingiverse. That was a great model. The only issue that I had is that one wasn't fittable to my head, or it wasn't wearable on my head. Maybe I have a big noggin. I don't know what it could be, but it was just some of the sizing. When I looked at this one, this is actually the file that I got from DO3D. I'll leave a link of that to the I'll leave a link in the description so that way you guys can get to that easy. Or again, Instagram is 3db.inc. Just hit me up on there and I'll help you guys out as well. But this one at 100% was a lot bigger than the one that I got from Thingiverse. So for me, that's a lot better using the CRS10. But for some of you guys that may be using what I started off with, maybe something like the Ender 3 Pro, that might cause a problem where you can't print out something this size. So before I get into that, I just pretty much break down what you guys are really going to have to focus on when it comes to this print, where you may need supports, so on and so forth. All right, so when you print any helmet, the main part that you're going to see a lot of issue with is coming to the end, coming up to the top of this dome right here. Since there's nothing really to support that, and again, if you watch my supports tutorial, you'll understand this a little bit more. But your printer's going to get to the top of this skull cap, and there's going to be nothing there for it to have support, or anything there for it to build upon other than itself. So a lot of people see failures coming out of their prints. The good thing with this Mandalorian helmet is that is not the case. You can actually print this straight up. The only place that you really need supports is going to be right here under the visor. So in that video of my supports, I told you guys about looking out for bridges. So if you check it out right here, all this visor right here is going to be dangling in the air if you were printed just like this. So there's two ways you guys can put supports in there. The first way that I taught you guys was custom supports. Custom supports are going to be here at the bottom left. Just go to the model. And again, Cura indicates where supports will be needed by leaving it red. So I can go in there with my custom supports, line it all up. Bing, bang, boom. All the way over. And then if I were to slice that, you guys would see that build up there. Again, when you're using these custom supports, guys, you don't have to have the supports on, but what you left it on will dictate how the structure comes out. So again, if you guys just leave these on support, build support everywhere, even though it's gone through the mask, these still will print. But if you left it on over build plate only, these custom supports may not come out. Alright, so let me just remove those. Alright guys, so that should give you like a basic idea of how to use the custom supports with the visor. When you're doing it, just take a little bit of time, just look at where the support is actually going to be. Again, you can move the supports the same way that you can move the print itself. You just want to make sure everything is lined up, and then just watch how the print builds. Just like I said in that video, watch step by step, line by line, how everything is going to go, and make sure that your supports are actually going to be supporting where you're putting them. All right, step 2 is using generated supports. So what I can do actually to save some time from those custom supports, so that way I don't have to go in there, tweak, move everything around, is I can actually generate supports and then put these supports on everywhere. Again, if I put it on over build plate only, the visor, which is the main part where I want the supports, that part may not get the support. So let me show you it this way. In my other video of supports as well, I showed you guys how to use custom support blockers or support blockers. That's going to be huge in taking this, because again, if you use full supports, it's going to take you quite some time, and you're going to get discouraged. You're not really going to like how much you're seeing. So I'm putting it on everywhere. So again, everywhere you see red would get support, but I don't need that. So here's what I would do in that case. So first, select the model. Follow me over to the left of the screen. This is going to be your support blocker here. It's this box with the little lines through it. And then I put it on the model. And then from there I'll scale it. So again, you can scale, move these custom supports or support blockers the same way that you do with your model. Oops, clicked the wrong thing. Alright, and let's get that support blocker. So it'll come out as that little cube there. And then let's just size this thing up. So what I want to do in this case is everywhere that is red, since I have supports on everywhere, I just want to block that, because I don't want the supports everywhere. I just want them over the visor. So I got that going. And then again, you can unclick uniform scaling. So that way you can change in one direction. Let me just make sure I have this all correct. So I really want it over the top of that dome, and primarily anywhere else, because I don't want supports everywhere. Turn that back on. And then, alright, so that's most of the helmet covered there. And I'll just pull this back. Drop it down. And then just bring that up on the Z-axis. Alright. So now everything within this gray box will not get supports. And push that. As you see, guys, this part, you may lose a little bit of hair. Just trying to get everything right. I just want to show you guys as good as possible how to get it done. Alright. So that should be good. And now let's slice it and let's see what that's going to be looking like. Alright guys, and with that support blocker, you may have to move it around a couple times before you get it just right. If you look with the supports on everywhere, instead of 10 days like you seen in my last video, you got it down to 3 days by just adding that one support blocker, so that way all of the interior is not getting that supports. But like I said, I left it like this on purpose just so you can see. So again, this is where the support blocker is. You'll see by the front of this noggin here that gray isn't there, so you'll still see some of that coming up. So that, guys, again, is this is something that you're gonna have to learn. You're gonna have to tweak this a little bit to get it just right for yourself, but I guarantee you guys can do it. Again, I'm just showing you guys how to get to this. And then primarily you'll see, again, build everything up, and you'll see those supports right here coming in over that visor. That's what you mainly want. Because again, if I did not have that there, as this print starts, you'll see the bridge right over the visor starting to come in, and it would have nothing there to build on. So as your print head is pushing down, as your bed is moving, that can cause a crack, that can cause some kind of malfunction that's going to make this print fail. So again, from 10 days down to 3, and I can get that down to 2 or 1 days. 2 days or 1 day if I were to really get this middle piece, because that's a lot of support right there. And then you still see some on the sides as well. But if I were to take all of that out and just get it at the visor, that would be perfect. I guarantee I can get that down to 2 days. Alright, so that's one option there. That's what I see a lot of people doing to make this a lot quicker. Again, if you were to do this upside down, again, still, that visor's still going to need the bridge. So it's still going to need those supports there. You just manufacture them in there like that. And boom, you should be good to go. Alright. Let me show you guys now how I went about this. But before I do that, actually, there's one other cool thing I want you guys to see. So instead of doing all of that with the supports, one other thing that you can do is drag this print down. Let's say to right about there. Right to when the visor is getting on the build surface. Boom. I can slice this and print it like this as well. So now anything that's under my bed, that's not going to register. That's not going to pop up in the build. Anything above the build plate will. So some of you guys might not have known that. This is actually a cool trick because I see a lot of people, maybe their print was printing and a certain part failed, and they might throw the whole print away. You do not have to do that. If you look at your printer, after a print has failed, if you go to prepare, go to move axis and look at the Z-axis specs, it'll tell you exactly how high up your print went. So in the next part that I'm going to show you exactly how you can fix that so that way you can get that print. Or you can just sink your print in as far. So let's say if you're printing this helmet and it printed all the mouth, but then you forgot to put the supports at the visor. Just pull this down, slice it, and then print from there. And then you could do it the opposite way as well. Flip it. And then move it down. And then print like that. Seeing that now, I should have did that. I should have did that, but I cut the model using Slicer. So if you guys watch my videos, you know I use Slicer a lot to make some cuts, to make some edits. If you're new, let's just go through that. Alright, so this is Slicer, slic3r.org. Pretty much the same thing as Cura, just a couple different features. I do not use this as my main slicer. I use this as I use Cura. But this definitely helps when I'm trying to make some cuts. So let's go to the Mandolorian and pop it in there. Alright. Boom. Alright. So now from here, some of you guys may be downloading Thingiverse files. And if you're like me, you're wondering, how did this guy cut the model up so that way I can get it all in these pieces? Maybe some of the pieces don't really fit what you're trying to do. And you might want to create some of your own custom slices so that way you get something that fits on your printer. This is one way that I found to do so. So again, in Slicer, you have different options to delete, move, counterclockwise or clockwise, split the model, or what we'll be doing today is cutting the model. So I just go ahead and select cut. And the same way that your printer has 3 different axes, X, Y, and Z, is the same way that you can cut the model as well. So on the X-axis, the Y-axis, and the Z-axis. For this one, we're going to stay with the Z-axis. Again, you have the option to slice and get the lower part only, the upper part only, or both. So what I did here, with the visor being the main part, is I just came in here and I looked for that perfect split. Now, as I was mentioning to you, if you did have a fail print and you did go on that Z-axis and actually seeing how tall up the Z-axis failed or where it failed at, let's say if it failed right at the bottom here by the jaw, I would just look at that Z-axis. Let's say if it said, I don't know, 100 millimeters. Type in 100 millimeters. on the Z, and boom. I can cut the bottom, which actually successfully print it, and then just keep the top, which is what I would still need. So a lot of you guys, if you're having some failed prints, still keep those. It's always good to use. I mean, if you're learning to paint or anything like that, but most of the time your prints didn't fail. It just came in a separate part, and you could still finish it. But let's get back to it. So I believe it was at 176. And let's just remove the lower part and see what we got. Boom. So that works perfectly. Now I have the lower part with the visor separated from the bottom part. One thing that I was really, so I'm glad I did that. So one thing I was really paying attention to is you'll see that there's still some of that visor there. So this is why I always check. Again, even in Slicer, I tell you guys, build your whole model up and check. Even with this Slicer, you want to do the same thing, because something like that could give you a headache. So let's see what we have to do. Just come down a little bit more. Let's say to about there, and then remove the lower, remove the upper. Alright, and now we see we have no visor, just straight the bottom jaw. And let's check at the top. We should just have the dome. And we do. Just a little bit of that. Again, I'd keep going back and forth until I got it right. But for this video, I just want to give you guys the idea. From there, I'll hit Perform Cut. Gives me both of those models in 2. And as I was mentioning before, sometimes the model may still register as these two as one when you perform the cut and keep both. If that happens, just click your model, let it select and change green, and then go up to split. As you can see the warning, that's already been done, so I don't have to worry about that. And then from there, I'll select one, delete it. Because if I export it just like this, I'll get I'll get the top and the bottom registered as one STL. And when I go over to Cura, if I can't fit these two on the same platform like this, they'll literally drag and move together, spaced out like this, and it won't register. So you have to export these two separately. So delete one, right here on the right, export STL, whatever I want it to be. So I just put like Mando top, and then I can hit search, put that in my downloads file, and then go from there. And then once I do that, again, Command Z, delete the other side, same thing. Alright. Let's go back into Cura on how I would print it from there. Alright, and then these are the two parts separately. So as you see in this one, my actual file, I don't have that extra little piece that was under the visor. You see I got it the clean cut. And then from there, what I did is I just rotated it. Oops, let me move this out the way. You see some other projects that I'm working on back there. Mind your business. Alright, so let's flip this upside down. Just like that with the bowl. And then just add my custom supports from there. This time I'll show you guys what it looks like too. Alright, let's go ahead and slice that. Alright, and that's sliced there. Again guys, it takes a little bit of time for my Cura to slice. So that's why you'll see like punches in, punches out. I just don't want you guys to sit here for that whole time. I mean, unless you do, I mean, I'm a pretty cool guy, I think. I'm just kidding. But alright, so let's see. So if we look at it here at the bottom right, 1 day, 3 hours. Opposed to what we had seen on the other end, which was going to take 3 days. We now cut that down by another 2 days. So the main thing that I want to watch for, going to sound like a broken record, is how this print starts. Just want to make sure that as it's starting, that it does have some kind of support. Now, like I mentioned, most helmets build in a circle. So if you look at these two sides, you'll see those the circular sides kind of like coming out and expanding. This Mandalorian, because it has this middle raft, is going to print forward and back kind of like a bolt. So that's pretty much what I want to support. The support side I just clicked in quickly, but from this side you can see it a lot better. So as that's coming in, I'm giving some kind of support system for the print to actually sit on, so that way there's no wobble in my print. And I'll have the time lapse for you guys to see that as well, and to see that in this orientation that it can still print and it can still print successfully. But I just think of these custom supports as like kickstands, pretty much. Where can I put them to adjust for gravity? So that way while my printer bed is moving, while the nozzle's pushing down, the print's not going to wobble, causing layer shifts or any kind of disruptions. And you see at the bottom I always use a raft as well. Again, that raft is just going to add a little bit of extra adhesive to your print, so that way again that it sticks and it comes out properly. And boom. So that would be the bottom half there. Again, I print on gyroid, so that's why it's looking like a little bit longer. I think concentric is probably like, it's the most flimsy that you can print, but it's the fastest. So if you ever want to print something really quick, just put it on concentric and that's going to print really quick for you. I would just say don't do it at 1%. Definitely add infill to that. You'll definitely need more infill. Alright, so this jaw, I remember it took me about 15 hours. And again, guys, if you're using other printers like Ender 3s or anything that's a little bit smaller, that slicer tool that I was using and showing you guys, make your own cuts in there. Get these parts as small as you need. And then from there, I do either PLA soldering. You can check out any of my other videos where I show you to do that. Or you could just use some hot glue or super glue. And then upside down like that. Just like to get it as flat as possible. There's actually a button that helps you with that as well. In the rotation field, I'll show you in just a second. Work with me here, work with me. But you see, everything's a little bit of a process. Everything takes a little bit of time. Let's get you on there. Alright, it looks like a couple minutes actually came off instead of my estimation of 15. It looks like 14 hours. And I just didn't want you guys to sit there, watch me move, orientate, and then again watch it slice. So I just cut past the scene. And then again, this part is pretty straightforward. There's no supports that you need really at all. I just put my raft, and you see it builds literally straight right up. So that's pretty simple there as well. So that's going to help you out a lot with your print, having that little orientation and then having that bowl instead of printing the whole thing in one. Trust me, you'll feel a lot more comfortable leaving just this on your printer than having the bowl over it as well. And then again from there, what I'll do is I'll either PLA weld or hot glue the two pieces together, and then I'll use some wood filler just to cover up that seam, and then it's good as new. Alright, and in this one I just have the bowl for you guys to see, because again the bottom half is pretty easy, it just builds straight up. And I just want to show you guys that you can print in an upside down bowl form and still have that be successful. With the DO3D file, you do get the separate attachments, and here's a picture of the other one that I did from Thingiverse. All right, guys, so thank you for spending some time with 3DB, learning how to get this masterpiece. Like I said in the beginning of the video, now I got to go outside, hit it with a little bit of spray paint, and add the visor. Again, if you guys want to see the full print, this one actually finished, check it out on Instagram. Again, my Instagram is 3db.inc. I'll also post this on my Facebook page. That's going to be 3db. It's going to be the same picture that you see from my YouTube. So again, thanks for hanging out, guys. I hope it helped you. As always, if this helped you, it could help somebody else. So just hit that like button, hit that share button, and leave a couple comments. If there's something that I didn't put in this video that you think may help the next person, why not share? And as always, guys, hit that subscribe button because I'm working on a couple new things and I actually have a cool new rollout for you guys. It's going to help you guys. So stay tuned. It's 3DB, guys. God bless.